Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Essentials Flash figure from DC Collectibles. And it sounds like DC Essentials is the line that's come to replace DC Icons. I don't think they've said that officially, but they have kind of hinted to it, and a lot of DC Icons figures have been canceled, and it sounds like they're going to put that on the back burner, and this DC Essentials line is going to be the priority. So I don't know how I feel about that. I like the DC Icons line, so I'm kind of sad to see it go. But anyways, let's look at this figure, starting with the packaging. The packaging is very similar to all the other DC Collectibles packaging. You're able to see the figure, and then on the top, it says the Flash DC Essentials. And then on the opposite end, it says 20 years, which I assume is 20 years of DC Collectibles. And then at the bottom, it says DC Collectibles and direct from the source. And then on the side, we have a picture of the figure itself. On the back, we get another look at the figure, as well as the other figures that came out at the same time as Flash. And then up here, you get a little description of the line. It talks about how it's going to release a hero and a villain at the same time. And then there's a little brief description of the Flash. And then on the bottom, which is my favorite part, it gives a little credit to the sculptor. And that would be Paul Harding. And it says that he sculpted all four of these figures. So that's awesome. So I like this packaging. It's collector friendly. The figure looks nice in there, and I love the fact that it gives credit to the sculptor. But let's bust this figure out and see what we're working with here. And here's Flash out of the packaging, and for the most part, I'm pretty impressed with this figure. I like what they did with the articulation. It's very similar to the articulation on DC Icons figures, but they switched up a couple things. Some things I agree with, and some things I don't. But for the most part, I'm very happy with the articulation. So let's get into it here. His head is able to move side to side. And it sits kind of low, so there's not really too much tilt to it. But it can look all the way up to about there. It could look down to there. And then his ab crunch can go forward to about there. And then it could go back a pretty nice amount. And then he has the waist swivel. And I do kind of miss that joint that the DC Icons used to have up in the upper torso. I thought it was kind of cool, and it allowed for some more natural looking poses than you'd get from the waist swivel. It kind of did the same thing as the waist swivel, but you were also able to tilt it a little bit, and I thought that allowed for more natural looking poses. But they decided to do away with that, I guess, so that they could include the upper thigh swivel. And I guess I'm okay with that. You could still get some really cool poses out of him with his torso and stuff. And then for his arms, he has ball jointed shoulders, so they go all the way around. They come out to the side, upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. His legs come out to the side to about there, and then they come forward only to about there, pretty much just straight out. And then you have the upper thigh swivel, as I mentioned before. So I'm sure people are going to be happy about that, because that joint was something that a lot of people were upset that DC Icons didn't have. So I'm glad that they threw it on here. But I kind of got used to not having it there, and I really like that torso joint. So I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I'm happy with the articulation on this guy, but I do miss that upper torso joint. But I am very happy that we have the upper thigh swivel. And then you have double jointed knees. You have a swivel at the lower leg, and you also have a swivel at the foot, and then the foot could come forward to about there, come up to about there, and then it does have a rocking kind of ankle joint, but it is a little hard to maneuver, but it's definitely there, so you could make it work. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the articulation on this guy. He doesn't have any innovative or new type of articulation points, but he does have everything that you need for a Flash figure. So I'm pretty satisfied with the articulation. And as you can see here, you could definitely get him into some pretty cool running poses. Just got to mess with it a little bit. The one thing about him is the more you mess with it, it kind of seems the looser the joints get. I was having a lot of trouble standing him up and things like that. Even with the rocking ankles, which are nice, but the knees get kind of loose and the hips were getting kind of loose. So that's one thing that was kind of getting me pretty frustrated when I was handling this figure. And the crazy thing about this whole line is the fact that these figures are not going to come with very many accessories. So for that reason, I went kind of crazy with the size comparisons. And I know a lot of people are interested to see how he scales up to other figures. But here he is next to DC Icon Superman and DC Icons Deathstroke. And then here he is next to the DC Collectibles Capullo Batman, I think, and the Mafex Boba Fett. And then here he is with the Marvel Legends Cap Wolf and Marvel Legends Bucky Cap, and you could see that he's quite a bit bigger than both of them. And then here he is with Marvel Select Nightcrawler and Marvel Select Thor, and he's smaller than both of them. So he's somewhere in between 6-inch and 7-inch scale. And then here he is next to the Black Series Boba Fett and the Figure Arts Captain America. And now here we have him with the DC Icons Green Lantern and the Bandai Lion-O from Thundercats. And then here we have the Figure Arts Iron Man and Mezco Hellboy. And here he is next to the NECA Movie Ninja Turtle Raph and the NECA Caesar. And then here he is next to the Mezco 112 Collective Tactical Suit Punisher and a Mattel Master Chief figure. And then here we have the Deadpool from the Sasquatch wave and the new Tiger Stripe Wolverine from the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave. And then now here he is alongside the Marvel Select Ultron and Marvel Select Black Panther. And then now we have him next to Pizza Spider-Man and the DC Icons Nightwing. And now we have him here with a couple of other Flash figures. Here we have the Mezco 112 Collective Flash, and then we have the DC Icons Flash. And that's it for the size comparisons. I hope I didn't go overboard with it, but I know a lot of different people were really curious on how this figure was going to scale with other lines. So hopefully all those size comparisons answered any questions you might have. And just to give you a better look at the differences between the Essentials Flash and the DC Icons Flash, here they are together. And as you can see, the DC Icons Flash has this upper torso joint that I mentioned earlier that I really like a lot. That was one of the things that popped out to me when they first announced the DC Icons figures, that they had this double torso joint going on. And I just like it because you could kind of get it to lean back, and it just has a lot of nice movement, and you could get some really natural looking running poses using that. But the ab crunch, actually this ab crunch does work pretty good. I feel like on some of the DC Icons the ab crunch didn't work so good, but it does work pretty good on Flash. But with the Essentials Flash, it only has the ab crunch, and that's okay. You could still get them into some really decent running poses, but I am gonna miss that. And then of course the DC Icons line did not have the upper thigh swivel. The Essentials does. A lot of people are happy about that. But one thing that I kind of forgot about the DC Icons one is that all the details on him are sculpted. They're not just painted on like they are with the Essentials one. And I do like the way that the painted logo looks on the Essentials one a little bit better than I like the sculpted on the Icons one, but I do like the fact that all the details are sculpted on here. Maybe because they're smaller, they were able to put some more money into the sculpted details. Like all the lightning bolt lines and everything are all sculpted, so that's cool. And it seems like that was the case for a lot of the DC Icon stuff. They all had like unique sculpts. They just had similar articulation setups. But with the Essentials line, it looks like they sculpted this body and they're going to use it a bunch of times. So we'll see. I really hope that the Flash body is different than the Superman body, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm really going to miss the DC Icons line. Hopefully they find a way to keep putting these guys out. I know a lot of people didn't like the scale because it's smaller than Marvel Legends. For whatever reason, people want their DC figures to fit in with their Marvel Legends. And I kind of thought you were able to fudge it okay with the DC Icons. As you can see there, it's not like he's way smaller or anything, but it's going to be a little tougher to fudge them together with the DC Essentials because look how big he is. So I don't know, I think people complain too much about the DC Icons line, and as a result DC Collectibles gave us this new Essentials line, which I'm okay with. I do like this Flash figure a lot, but I am going to miss the Icons line, so hopefully they could find a way to get both of these out. And just in case anyone was thinking about doing this, the Mezco heads do not really fit on this body. They kind of fit size-wise. It might have to sit up a little bit, but the peg hole doesn't fit at all. That does look kind of cool. The reds obviously don't match, but it would be cool to have a Wally West head to put on there. Maybe they'll come out with one. And yeah, the head pops on and off really easy. But you are able to take the Speed Force effects from the Mezco Flash and throw them onto the Essentials Flash, and I think that looks really cool actually. I might have to leave him posed like that because I think that looks awesome. And it's a shame that he didn't come with any kind of effects of his own. I think for the price of these figures, they could have afforded to throw in some cool effects or maybe extra hands or something, but I think I would have preferred effects. So it does suck that it didn't come with any, but it is cool that you could take the Mezco ones and these actually look really cool on him. And for the details on this guy, I think the sculpting is really nice. There aren't a lot of costume details or anything on the Flash, obviously. He's just a red guy with some lightning bolts, but I think they did a really nice job with the paint. You could see that the logo looks really nice. The paint is a little thin on the lower side right here where the white is at, but I didn't even notice until I was kind of inspecting, and then up here there was a little bit of white on the black area, if you could see that, but not a huge deal. And then the lightning bolts on the arms, they look pretty good, but I do wish they were a little bit more crisp. Same thing with the belt. And then I got a weird situation right here. You could see like there's an indentation in there. I'm not sure what's going on. And there are some paint imperfections on the back of the shoulders. You could see for some reason there's some yellow splashed on there. And then down here there's some red splashed on the boot. But aside from that, there aren't any huge paint imperfections. And you could definitely find some flaws if you look for it, but just looking at the figure on the shelf or just messing with it, it doesn't look too bad at all. And then the head sculpt looks really nice. It's very Barry Allen. I like the way that the eyes look. And these little earpieces are a little stiff, but they aren't as stiff as the DC Icons one. And on mine, those things broke almost immediately. Actually, I dropped it maybe one time and those things kind of just snapped off. And I'm kind of hoping that that's not the case here. It feels like they're a little bit more durable. I don't feel like this is going to fall and break, but they are a little bit stiff. And as far as the sculpt goes on the body, I'm surprised at how the body looks because it doesn't look as muscular as I thought. You can't really see too many muscles down in his torso or in his arms. It's not like you see like veins or anything like that. But it doesn't look bad. It looks good. I think Mr. Paul Harding did a really nice job on sculpting this. And I think it's going to be the same body for all the different figures that they use. Maybe it'll be like different sizes for bigger figures. I'm really interested to see if Superman has the same sculpt as Flash here, because I'd kind of want Superman to have more muscles in his torso and his arms and stuff. I don't mind so much here with Flash, but I do hope that Superman has more muscle definitions and stuff. And yeah, like I said, not too much to talk about with the details, but the figure does look cool. I think he captures the iconic Flash pretty nicely. And yeah, I'm very happy with the sculpt. Like I said, Paul Harding did a really nice job with it. And I know that he doesn't include any accessories, but it's kind of strange because his fists pop out really easy, as if he was intended to have extra hands or something. So overall, I like this figure a lot, but I'm not going to say that I love it. I think for the most part, they did a good job with everything. The sculpt is nice. The paint is pretty decent. It's a little bit sloppy. It could have been a little bit better. You know, the look of the figure captures the character good. So I'm happy about all that stuff. The articulation is really good. And like I said, there's a few things that I wish they didn't do, but I'm okay with the articulation in general. And I think it's kind of weird that they're replacing DC Icons with these guys. I think DC Icons was just getting rolling and people were getting into it, and they were starting to forget the fact that it didn't have the upper thigh swivel, and they were kind of accepting the size and making, being happy with it being its own thing. And then, they kind of threw that away and gave us this, which I think is going to suffer from the same problems. It's like its own scale, and that's cool, but if they canceled DC Icons because people weren't happy with the scale and they gave us this, people are still going to be unhappy with the scale because it doesn't fit in with 6-inch figures, and it doesn't really even fit in with 7-inch figures. On the box it says that it's a 6.97-inch figure, so I don't know, that's kind of in between. It's basically 7 inches, but it looked kind of small next to Marvel Select, which is a 7-inch line. But anyways, I think that they need to find a way to give us some more accessories to make these figures more interesting, especially if we're going to pay $26 for them. Personally, I'm not sure if I'm going to go all in on the line. I might just pick them up as I can, like if I find them cheap at a convention or online or whatever. But I don't think I'm going to be rushing to the comic book stores to buy these whenever they come out. But I do plan on picking up Superman, and maybe if they give us like a different version of Batman, I'll probably pick that up too. But for now, it's just going to be Flash and Superman, and we'll have to see about the rest of the line in the future. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you very much. Peace.
That's crispy.